Ooh, with Season 11 coming to an end, it is only right that Jizz does everything he can to help you win as much as possible. And this includes this video, in which I will be revealing 2 champions for each role who are just so absurdly broken you have to ban for the rest of 1122. Now this is not a call for these champions to get nerfed. This is based off the stats that have come out for 1122, and if you were to play against them, you have a much higher chance of taking that L. So let's get into it, and make sure to hit the sub button so you don't miss any of our upcoming Season 11 content. And we're going to start with the 2 top lane champions that you should definitely think about banning in your champ selects. Now the first one, no surprise here, this is going to be Camille. She has a 53% win rate at the moment, which is absurd for Camille because she has actually played quite a bit, and her skill ceiling, lots of people will hate me saying this, but there is actually a big difference between a very good Camille player and just your average Camille. And even though some popular champions do counter Camille in the laning phase like Darius, these champions are just nowhere near as strong because Camille with Divine Sundra, this is by far the best fight in Mythic, so if you're not going Divine Sundra, you are already at a disadvantage. And this has really come about, guys, because Gourd Drinker a couple of patches ago got nerfed so much, and even though the buff this patch has given it a little bit of power back, it's still nowhere near as strong as it used to be. So Camille with Divine Sundra is the standout top laner, and even if she is 0-5, as long as she has a Sheen in her kit somewhere, she will one-shot anyone by the time the mid to late game comes around. So make sure your team is either first picking her or she is just banned altogether. Now the second top laner you guys should think about banning, well, this is actually a really good champion in terms of win rate, but it's also one of the best counter picking top laners in the entire game, and this is Quinn. So if you think about playing a melee champion, it might even be Camille. Quinn is unbelievably hard to beat in lane, in fact it's almost impossible, so it doesn't really matter how OP the fighter or bruiser you pick, Quinn is just going to counter you because of the range and because of her vault. It makes it so hard to actually stick to her, to lock her in place, and to actually deal damage to her because she can just disengage by the press of a button. Now I understand that Quinn did get nerfed a couple of patches ago, so her W's attack speed at rank 5, and this is the ability you max first, is down by 20%, which is actually pretty big, but Quinn still has the range, she still has the vault, so there is no reason to stop picking her as a counter pick. So if you are going to play one of these melee bruisers guys in the top lane, a short range champion, make sure you ban Quinn just so someone on the enemy team doesn't lock her in, because they will make your life hell. Now heading to the jungle guys, the champion that you pretty much have to ban out of all of these roles, this is Vi. She has close to a 55% win rate, by far the highest in the game right now, and this is in lower elo, so if you're in bronze, silver, gold, let me just tell you that your AD carry is not going to be able to kind of Vi, so banning her is a very good idea. But on top of the fact that your AD carry isn't going to be that well informed, it's also a great reason to ban Vi just because she is so good with Hail of Blades, with Divine Sundra, so hard to beat her in a 1v1, and because of the quality of life buffs that came in this patch, her win rate is actually skyrocketed, going up around 2% in just the last few days. And she probably has one of the most obnoxious level 6s in the game, a lock-on ultimate that is going to knock that champion up. It pretty much guarantees her Q and her full combo, and that person is not going to survive. So Vi is the first jungler you should ban guys for 1122. Now the second jungler is a very similar champion because Trundle is a bruiser fighter who does extremely well in 1v1s, the single target damage, the ultimate, the Qs. It's all too much for so many champions to handle. Now remember, Vi and Trundle both are taking Divine Sundra, and because Gourd Drinker has been nerfed and Conqueror has been nerfed, these 2 champions are not going Conqueror either. The junglers become a lot easier. And for a press the attack Trundle, as soon as you get to level 3 with both buffs, just run at someone. Just club them over the head, get the dildo out of the ground, and you'll be good. I know I used that joke before, but when I talk about Trundle, I have to say it. I don't know why. So Vi and Trundle, guys, if you are a jungler for 1122, these 2 champions are the premier bans for the next 2 weeks. Now let's head to the mid lane, guys, and talk about the 2 champions who you should consider banning for this patch. Now the first one is Lux. 4 buffs a few patches ago, this was all too much, and she actually has the best win rate out of all the mid laners at the moment in the entire game. And this is simply because you have more attack speed, your E is doing more damage, the ability you max first, your ultimate is on a much lower cooldown, it's 1 minute for goodness sake, at level 6, 1 minute cooldown on your ultimate, and your passive is also going to last a bit longer. So for a champion who builds items like Luden's Tempest, Horizon Focus, Sorcerer Shoes, which are all pretty good, Lux is just way too oppressive to play against, especially in lower elos where people do run in straight lines. So landing your light binding into a full combo is very achievable, and probably just because your E is like unmissable in the mid lane, like it's harder to miss than to actually hit. And as long as that Lux player actually saves their Q, you know, until the enemy champion engages or until they get ganked, they should be fine. They should be able to dominate. So I'd really recommend playing Lux, guys, if you're playing a melee champion, because getting poked out of lane and just getting bombarded with ease, it's not very fun. So get rid of Lux, it will make the mid lane a lot more fun. But another champion you should think about banning, this is Akshan, who to be honest is the best attack damage champion in the mid lane you can pick. Despite his heroic swings damage getting nerfed a couple of patches ago, and this is still the ability you max first, okay, you might get less kills, but here's the thing, you still have so much going for you. Your passive giving you a shield, 2 auto attacks, your Q giving you good harass, your W allowing you to roam around the map unseen, and your E, okay, is doing less damage, but it's still doing enough to one-shot the enemy squishies, who are the champions you really should be targeting. So nothing has really changed in that respect. Also, the fact that Akshans are going shield bash in their runes, which is making their passive shield even bigger, and then bone plating. So if you are trading with an Akshan, there is only going to be one winner of that trade, and that's Akshan if you didn't get that reference. So if you don't want to ban Lux in the mid lane, guys, please consider banning Akshan. This will improve your chance of winning. Now, of course, the last 2 roles left, guys, the AD carry and support roles, and the 4 champions here. Why don't we start with AD carry? So the first champion I think you should consider banning, and this is really for lower elos, but still apparent in higher elos, this is Misfortune. Now, whether you're going Comet, whether you're going Press the Attack, this champion is just oppressive as to play against. She's a very good lane bully, and she's so easy to play. So it doesn't matter if you're first timing Misfortune, auto-filling in the AD carry role, this champion just gives someone way too much agency for how easy she is to play. And in lower elos as well, because players, their positioning, it's not that great, you can probably hit your bullet time on all 5 enemy champions and pentakill multiple times in a game. Now, obviously, that's an exaggeration, but it is somewhat true. But here's the thing, guys, in higher elo, Misfortune still has a very good win rate, so it just goes to show how strong this AD carry is. So if you want a much easier laning phase, getting rid of Misfortune in champ slates is a very wise idea. Now, another champion you might think of getting rid of, and in particular in lower elos, is Vayne. Now, the reason I've put Vayne on this list, she is actually performing at a very high level in terms of the win rate department, but in lower elos, guys, lots of people don't know how to lane properly and actually bully short-range, weak early game champions like a Vayne. So most of the time, you're going to escape the early game for free, and even get to your level 6 and mid-game spikes for free, and even ahead of the enemy AD carry, even though you should be so far behind. So let's say, guys, you pick an AD carry in champ slate, and for whatever reason, your support, you just don't trust them. Like, they don't seem like the type of person who knows what they're doing. Then getting rid of Vayne is a very good idea, because then you don't have to worry about one of the best hyper carry late game champs in the game getting to that point of the game for free, because you and your support are AFK. Now, the last role, of course, this is the support role, and the 2 supports I think you guys should ban for 11-22. Well, the first one is a very popular pick in lower elos, and this is Zyra, who is one of the most oppressive supports to go against because she deals so much damage. Even if she's 0-10, she's probably going to do the most damage in the game, and it's really obnoxious. Like, anyone can pick her and do well just because she's so easy. As long as you have a couple of plants out there and you get your ultimate off in a fight, with Leandra's Anguish as well, the tick damage you do to squishy champions, it's super annoying, and in the late game, it's very risky to play against Zyra because face checking her spells your demise. And I would pretty much permaban Zyra, guys, if you're an AD carry or maybe support player who has an AD carry who is picking a short range marksman, because you have to get close to the minions to see as this allows champions like Zyra to pick you off, land their snare, and you are going to cop a lot of damage and probably die. So getting rid of Zyra gets rid of one of those massive threats against you in the bot lane. But another support champion who is a really big threat as well to these short range AD carries, it's Blitzcrank. So if your AD carry is not picking Ezreal, I'd be very tempted to ban the Crank, not just because he has a 53% win rate and is performing very well since his buff, but you just know for a fact no matter how good your AD carry has played to a certain point, they are going to get hooked at some point. And a bit like Zyra in the mid to late game, it's very risky to play against a Blitzcrank because if he hooks anyone on your team, they are going to die. So it's not just for your AD carry you're protecting or your support, it's really for your entire team. Even at level 1, this is a really good ban because some games can be decided at this early stage, so you can just eliminate all the cheese the enemy team might be thinking about using by banning Blitzcrank in 11-22. So those are the 10 champions, guys, 2 for each role, you should think about banning for this patch. And if you did enjoy the video, please remember to leave a like down below, and also make sure to check out the GameLeap website on your way out, linked in the description and comment section. Our Challenger players and coaches are uploading up to 20 videos a week, so if you want that exclusive access to the courses, the guides, the high elo VOD analyses, make sure you sign up. And until tomorrow's daily upload, this has been the